Hi, my name's Bryce. Welcome to my beginner's guide to Final Fantasy XIV. Today we're talking about playing on controller, so a quick note on terminology. I will be using PlayStation button names. Shoulder buttons refers to L1 and R1. Trigger buttons refers to L2 and R2. With that out of the way, here's what I'll be covering in this video. Basic movement and menuing, cross hotbar settings, and targeting. Basic movement and menuing. TLDR, basic character controls are as you'd expect, but what makes Final Fantasy XIV shine on controller are the cross hotbar system and the various targeting controls, which I'll cover in later sections. One of the benefits of playing on controller is the simplicity of movement. We're talking fairly standard dual stick controls. To use an ability, you ready a cross hotbar section by holding either L2 or R2, then you press the face or directional button that ability is assigned to. That's it. That's the heart of playing on controller. There are three more things I want to point out. You can find an overview of the basic controls and limited controller settings under System Configuration, Wireless Controller Settings. Unfortunately, button configuration does not support full controller remapping at this time, instead only allowing a certain set of actions for each button. If you ever need fine-tuned mouse controls with only a controller handy, you can activate and deactivate the virtual mouse by holding L1 and pressing R3. The on-screen guide will remind you how to left and right click. You can zoom the camera in or out using L1 plus the right analog stick. Before we get into the meat of things, here's about all you need to know about menus. Use the D-pad to navigate menus. Cross button confirms, circle button cancels. The square button often acts similarly to right-clicking on menu items. For many things, that brings up a contextual submenu, but it can also be used to quickly toggle checkboxes such as in the duty finder. The triangle button will act as a prompt confirmation button in many menus. For some examples, pressing triangle will register you for selected duties in the duty finder menu, start crafting the currently selected item in the craft log menu, apply settings in the settings menu. Cross hotbar settings. The whole point of this video is that I want to tell you to turn on the following options. Head to System, Character Configuration, scroll down to Hotbar Settings, and head over to the Custom tab. Turn on the following. Enable expanded controls with L2 plus R2. Enable WXHB with simultaneous L2 and R2 double tap. Enable directional and action buttons. With these options enabled, instead of having access to a single cross hotbar at any given time, you now have access to a full 3 cross hotbars at once based on holding a single trigger, holding both triggers, or double tapping the triggers as long as you're using the default hold control style. Speaking of which, under the cross tab, you'll find the cross hotbar controls about halfway down. Hold is the default control setting. Hold the trigger to keep the specific actions at the ready. Toggle can alleviate a lot of hand strain. However, this option is not compatible with any of the expanded cross hotbar options. Tapping a trigger will ready those actions until you tap it again to unready. Mixed tries to find the best of both worlds. Tapping a trigger acts as toggle would, but holding a trigger acts as hold would. This means you still don't get the double tap L2 or R2 hotbars, but you do have access to hotbars accessed by holding L2 and R2 together. At the bottom of the cross tab, you have the option to always display the WXHB. This can be great for the hold control style, but frustratingly this can only be used to show the hotbars associated with double tapping L2 or R2. If you can get used to those being your secondary hotbars, that can be great to keep your various cooldowns on screen. One last thing on hotbar options while we're here, the sharing tab allows you to change which hotbars are shared between classes. By default, cross hotbars 1, 2, and 3 are unique per class, while 4 through 8 are all shared. This default is solid. I mostly just want to draw attention to these options if you ever want to change it and to point out which hotbars are shared across classes. Targeting. One of the difficulties of playing on controller is targeting. The tutorial will tell you the most simple targeting methods. Use left and right on the D-pad to cycle through potential targets, then press the cross button to confirm your target. Pressing the cross button alone will target what your character is facing, assuming it is on screen. By default, this cycles across anything targetable. Enemies, NPCs, any player passing by, etc. And that's a problem when you need to target something specific. Luckily, there's a couple ways around this. The first is active filter customization options you can set in System, Character Configuration, Control Settings, Filters. By activating a filter with L1 plus a face button, you can limit D-pad targeting to only specific targets. This filter will be cleared by drawing your weapon when attacking an enemy or by pressing either L3 or L1 plus R1. While these filters are useful, there are a myriad of button combinations to cycle across specific targets regardless of filter. Up and down on the D-pad will select members in the party list, which is all but required for healing. L1 plus up or down will select enemies on the enmity list. This can be great for tanks that need to target a specific enemy that's trying to get loose. L1 plus left or right will scroll through alliance members. Again, this is great for healers if they need to support another party during an alliance raid. Holding either L2 or R2 and pressing R1 will cycle rightward across enemy targets starting from the center of the screen. Pressing L1 instead of R1 will cycle leftward. This is my personal preference when it comes to targeting enemies, but do note that unlike previous targeting methods, this does not allow for what's known as soft targeting. When you have a current target until you have pressed the cross button to confirm a new target, you will now have a soft target. Performing any action on this soft target will then revert to your previous hard target. This technique is most often used for healing or granting a buff to another party member, and while it can take some getting used to, it's a powerful tool only available to controller players. One last note on targeting. Some abilities target a specific area on the ground. By default, the targeting circle position will be based on the center of the screen, which you can manipulate simply by adjusting the camera and moving your character. You can also use R1 plus the left analog stick to adjust the targeting circle position. While there is so much I haven't covered here, this should be everything you need to play Final Fantasy XIV successfully on controller. If you're looking for every nitty-gritty detail, you can find plenty to dive into by searching for an FF14 in-depth controller guide, though as always, stay safe when surfing the World Wide Web. Thanks for watching.